Rob Moore is a property investor. He's an author and a podcaster. He recently said on LinkedIn, "I'm always grateful to my competition. They keep me sharp, they stop complacency, and they help me up my game." Now, all that will be true if you are constantly monitoring your competition and responding to their moves. All that and more coming up right after this. Hello and welcome to this session where we are going to talk about 6 most common scenarios when your competition forces you to revisit or reevaluate your value propositions. In a football game, every single player needs to constantly keep an eye on the players of the opposite team. You need to constantly adjust your position based on the opposite players' moves. Depending on where the striker, the defender, or the goalkeeper are moving, you have to, and your team members have to continuously reposition and choose the right spot in the game. You also need to have an offensive game where you're forcing the players of the opposite team to adjust their own positions according to your field strategies. Now, in the same vein, businesses too need to constantly adjust their defense and offense in relation to their competitors. So to understand this in a little more detail, let's take 6 very commonly occurring situations or scenarios which force you to reevaluate your business propositions or value propositions. So scenario number 1 is about geographic changes. So let's say your competitor is leaving a market that you both have been operating in. Now you will need to decide how are you going to position your business in a change in this changed market. Is this a time that you're going to convey your commitment by staying? Or will you claim that your competitor has lacked commitment or has lacked an understanding, for example, of your local market and hence they are quitting? Now, similarly, your competitor could also be entering a market that they have not operated in, but you have been operating in for a long while. And now in this new scenario, you have to readjust your value proposition. Now, you have to understand what your competitor is bringing to your market, and based on that, you need to refine your messaging. It could be that you might be thinking that you have a strong brand awareness and your existing customer relationships are quite strong, and your competitor will have no way of challenging that. Now, these things are absolutely no guarantee that your business will be protected when your new competitor enters your market. Your brand awareness and your existing customer relationships, these can all be challenged and overcome by your competitor. And you need to reevaluate and redevelop your value proposition. I have covered the process of developing a value proposition in a separate video, and I will include a link for that down below here. Scenario number 2. Let's say there is a new technological trend coming to your market. It could be, let's say, quantum computing, 5G, cryptocurrency, or whatever that might be. There's a new tech trend, and your competitor decides to jump on that bandwagon and claims that they have a pioneering position where their products or services are very well associated or leveraging these new technology trends. Now, in this situation, you need to respond because your prospects will ask you if your business can do the same, because your competitor has changed the expectations of your customers and your prospects. Now, your proposition needs to state if you are as ready as your competitor or perhaps more. Or alternatively, you could take the position that might instead be that you are challenging your competitor's position by debunking the competitor's claims. Scenario number 3, debasing your business model. Now, this is where your competitor makes a massive move, where they decide to give away a product or service that is very, very similar to yours for free. Now, you urgently need to respond and adjust your positioning, as your sales team is going to face a lot of rejection in the market, and your top line is going to take a massive hit. So you need to make it extremely clear how your paid-for product or service is going to be different from your competitor's free version, if it is going to be different. Or maybe your position will be to devalue your competitor's move by revealing that the competitor's ulterior motive, for example, is of basically making your customers dependent or locking them into long-term unfavorable contracts. So you are completely derailing your competitor's strategy by taking that kind of an approach. Scenario number 4, your competitor buys part of your business. So now, for various reasons, businesses sometimes, they sell part of their portfolio. It could be a product, it could be a sub-brand to their competitors. Now, you could be in a situation like that, and if you are, then you need to convince your customers how your move is not putting them at risk. Now, to prospective customers, your position needs to make an extra effort to differentiate your company or product or service from your competitors, because they can feel confused about. So far we heard this product or this sub-brand belonged to company X, and now suddenly it is being offered by company Y. They could be really confused, and you need to really step in before that confusion takes roots. Scenario number 5. Competitor merges or acquires a third party. Now, it's again common for businesses to merge or acquire with other businesses. Now, when this happens, it can impact your differentiation in a variety of ways. Let's say, for example, the competitor may have acquired a capability and bundled it now with their original offering, resulting in the dilution of the appeal of your product or service. Alternatively, it could be that the competitor is now entering a market with this new acquisition or merger where you have enjoyed a leadership position so far. So they're challenging you through this M&A activity. In each of these M&A cases, or there could be a variety of others, your value proposition needs to be very quickly adapted to respond to these situations, and an appropriate positioning communicated or conveyed to your target audience. Scenario number 6, and this is the final one, where your competitor dilutes your differentiating partnership. So imagine your competitor forges a partnership with a company who is an incumbent partner with your business, right? So you had this partnership with a company, and now suddenly your competitor is trying to forge a partnership with that same company. Now, this partnership so far was a source of differentiation for you in the market, but because of this dilution or this particular move by your competitor, you have to adjust your positioning so your customer-facing staff are in a position to be able to defend the loss of this competitive edge that you had so far. Now, maybe you will respond by claiming that the two partnerships are very different in nature and yours is still is very good or even better. Or maybe you'll acknowledge that this is a loss of differentiation, and but at the same time you will show the customers a robust plan that you have put in place that very soon will compensate for this loss. So these are the 6 scenarios that we went through. So as I said, the first one was a geographic change where your competitor is either entering or exiting the market that you have been operating in. Scenario number 2 was about a technological trend, how your competitor jumps on the bandwagon and you have to now defend to your customers if you are on that bandwagon or not. And scenario number 3 was where your competitor tries to completely devalue, derail your business model by giving away something that you have been offering for free. Scenario number 4 is where your competitor is buying a part of your business, a product, or a sub-brand, for example, and you have to step in to avoid any confusion in the customer's mind. Scenario number 5 we looked at was about the competitor merging with or acquiring a third-party company. And finally, we discussed a competitor diluting a partnership that was a source of your differentiation so far. So these are the 6 scenarios, and pretty much all of them, they fall in the category of defensive moves, where you are having to respond to the strategic moves by your competitor. Now, on the other hand, you might and should make offensive moves yourself, forcing your competitors to rethink their messaging. Remember, even in the offensive scenario, your position will need to be regularly updated and in a timely manner. Your business is making an additional investment, or perhaps sacrificing a particular piece of pie in the market. Now, your value proposition needs to incorporate this move and explain convincingly to the customers why you're doing this and what impact you think will this have on them. That's pretty much it for this session. The next one will continue the go-to-market series, and see you soon. Goodbye.